So have I ever told you the story of a team outing where we did paintball?
No.
Oh, okay. This is great. So I was on this was my second summer at Disney. We were on a three-dimensional database, what was later to be called data warehousing project. So this was way in the late 80s, before data warehousing kind of blew up. So we're on this project, and they brought a whole bunch of consultants from a big six consulting firm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm not going to say the name because half of them were real a-holes.
Mm.
So one guy in particular was really nasty to me. Being the only intern on the team, he was just kind of constantly giving it to me. So we go into this paintball situation because it's a team building, right? So we go into this woods, and there's this kind of makeshift fort, and we're supposed to be defending the fort. And meanwhile, the whole bunch of the consultants are trying to come in and take us off. So I'm like, oh, vengeance is mine. Say it's me. And then he comes into the fort, and I just start nailing him. And somehow he tripped. And he's like, I'm down. And then I start aiming, because I'm up high, and I'm start aiming at his ass. I'm just sitting there pelting him with meatballs. And he's like, I'm out. And I'm like, no, not yet. Bop, bop, bop. Oh, best team building ever.
Oh, geez. I could totally see that. I could see you
absolutely.
guys wailing on me. Yeah.
Oh, no, not the mortgage maker. No, we will not.
The mortgage
paintballs at the mortgage.
No,
maker.
you would, and you'd all be blaming it on somebody else. You'd like randomly shuffle up the paintball colors so it wouldn't be obvious who shot who. Can't tell. Could have been anybody. There's all kinds of different colors on there.
Or you know, that's when I have that extra paintball gun with Eric's color in it.
That's cruel, man.
Michael Tilley says, so henceforth we can call him Rambo Rump. Yeah, I could see that.
Let's call him Rumpo.
Rumpo. I don't even know any good Rambo quotes. And I should. It's been too long. Hanan says, hello guys and happy holidays.
Muttering.
Feel free to get your technical questions in now. We'll start in like 2 minutes, and we go through first come, first serve, and we always end up running out of time to cover everybody's questions. So go ahead and get your technical questions in now, and we'll go through them one at a time.
Someone's asked me if I'm being paid fairly. Hang on.
So we're doing our salary survey. I should pop this open and show you guys. So if you go to brentozar.com/blog, brentozar.com/blog, we have our salary survey open now, and we did it last year. We're doing it again this year. One thing's really important to watch. When you're looking at this, it's open to everybody. It's totally anonymous, but there you can see the incoming, jump back one. You can see the incoming raw data. The raw data, whatever you put in there, other people can see it. So if you're kind of nervous about other people seeing your salary, maybe this isn't the salary for a survey for you.
I was going to fill it out, but there were too many hard questions. Like, how many databases do you manage and stuff like that? And I'm like, none. Zero. And then I feel like if I put in enough information, everyone's going to know who it is. Like, consultant in Brooklyn managing 0 databases. I'm like,
with any other platform, yeah. Job status as consultant.
Oh God, Teradata's in there.
Yeah. What I did was I went through and I picked the top. It was like the top 10 databases from that database engine rankings thing. And then if you guys want to see the raw data, click on that. Here's the incoming raw results as they happen. And we had like 1,800 as of a few minutes ago. So you can go right in and see there's someone who says they're making $1.5 million a year. Same person filled it out last time. Maybe it is Richie. Yeah. Same person filled it out last year too. So
you need to ban Adam Mechanic from taking this.
I'm going to make it up on volume.
There's no big int here.
So scrolling down, let's see how far we've gotten to now. See if we're up over 2,000 recipients. 1960
we ended up with like what, around 3,000 last year?
Yeah, it's right about 3,000.
Pretty good turnout.
Unbelievable. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see. Gordon asks, would creating a clustered index on a heap with a very high number of page locks make things better when truncating and repopulating? Oh, that's interesting.
When truncating? No, I can't see how it would help with truncating. And I can see how it might hurt with repopulating, because then you'd have to, the data would get ordered by the clustered index. So for that kind of heap, if all you're doing is truncating and reloading, I can't really see much benefit to a clustered index unless you're doing something, real clustery with it later. Like if you need to join that table off to something else later on, then. But even then, I would probably create and drop the clustered index as needed. I wouldn't just have it on there all the time.
Richie, when you were doing data, yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming if you are doing truncates on that, there's no foreign keys in other tables and things like that.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. So it's one less reason to need non-clustered indexes on it.
Correct.
Just do column store for everything. There's no need for any other kind of index at all ever. Just column store everything and partition and column store, and make sure that you're loading your data as JSON. I think is just the key to database success these days.
Anything that doesn't work for, you should use Hackathon.
Yeah, totally. Or that in-memory column store with JSON, I think is just.
I like DynamoDB, so let's do JSON with DynamoDB. How's that? We good?
Cosmo, you're not remembering the
that's
current
right,
keywords.
Microsoft has Cosmo. That's right.
Yeah. This is why nobody lets you into the MVP club.
Spend too much time in RDS, man.
We don't use the Cosmo word.
Yeah, it wasn't the successful podcast or the 1,500 people user group. Yeah, that had nothing to do with that.
No,
I think it was working for you, Brent. I think that's what.
It's probably true. Guilt by association. John says, Blitz told me to add alerts, so I did. I am now seeing alerts. I'm getting alerts for severity 16 and severity 20. I've looked in the error log, and I'm seeing this alert information as well. Where can I find out more about the logins that are trying and failing with an SSPI handshake error?
I'm not good at that one.
If you wanted to, you could start running an extended events trace to catch failed logins, for example. I would just say, check to see the time of day that it happened. If it's happening at the exact same time every day, it's really common for penetration testing tools. I've seen stuff flag a certain time every day. And if it's not your biggest concern, you feel free to leave off those Sev 20 errors if you're not worried about those. JH says, when I restore around 10 tables, not the entire database, those 10 tables have foreign key dependencies. Any handy tricks that would help me track down all the other foreign keys in other tables, dropping those keys, inserting the data, and then recreating the keys?
So how are you only inserting certain or only restoring certain tables? Are you using a third-party tool, or are you just doing like a select into a different database? Because, I mean, just, obviously there's no object level restore natively with SQL Server, so that would be my first thing. I do know that Aaron Bertrand has a pretty nifty script out there on the internet that will script drop and create statements for all of your foreign keys. So that might be one way to go if you wanted to have just like, if you wanted to just script it out and do it. I don't know if it'll work for absolutely everything, but it's Aaron, so I trust it for the most part.
I agree with that.
I don't know. I get kind of
fourth one down.
Really, when you start talking about dropping foreign keys and then reloading data and then reapplying the foreign keys, I mean, are we sure that data hasn't been removed, and what kind of because when you reapply those foreign keys and the data has been removed in the child table, then or the parent table, then it's not going to be there, right? You're not going to be able to apply that key back.
I'd be curious how often you have to do it too. This is, you can tell we like this question a lot. This is not that we don't like all the questions. You're all wonderful snowflakes that are going to melt. But this is really interesting. How often do you have to do it? Is it part of a regular data warehousey type process, or is it something that you only have to do every now and then for emergencies? That's really cool. Ron says, what is your choice for high availability? I can tolerate up to 1 minute of downtime.
I would say, yield failover cluster. It's my favorite thing in the world.
And what do you like about failover clusters?
They're not availability groups. is primarily what I like about them. I mean, just for the environments that I've been a part of, they made the most sense because we already had the SAN, we already had the shared storage. It was fairly easy to set up and get all that stuff running. You know, with an AG, we would have had to have separate storage and, you know, probably, you know, mess stuff up that way. But that failover cluster gave us pretty quick failover, even with, you know, dozens of terabytes on there. It was pretty easy to manage quorum and all that. Once you know you got your head wrapped around that, and since you know it was a 2-node failover cluster and both were in the same data center, I didn't have to worry too much about like crazy split brain stuff happening off somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. I highly recommend checking out our post, The 9 Letters That Get DBAs Fired. And we walk you through how to interpret the right HA and DR mechanisms for your goals, or crystal mechanisms.
Method mans.
Well, you got that clickbait thing nailed down tight, man. There's a lock on that.
I'm telling you, I love overhyping and sensationalizing things. It really gets people's attention. It's really good stuff.
And sensualizing as well, not just sensation.
Making them sensational. Ron Saxer notices the gremlin on there. Oh, yeah. Let's see here. James May, and I hope this is the real James May, because that would be really cool if he was on the webcast.
Jimmy May, right?
Or that too. Wow, I never thought that Jimmy May has James May.
Yeah. They made him put his full name in the go-to webinar thing.
That's incredible. He says, I have an access problem. Someone is using it.
Yeah. What?
We have to build a whole new data mart with over 100 reports, and I'd like to put it in literally anything other than access. What tool would you recommend, and how would you go win around the access guy? Oh, I have the answer. No, PowerBI. I'm all about PowerBI. I think PowerBI, why your faces are so, what?
Oh, there's still the access guy? He's still around.
Yeah,
he didn't die of old age?
We'll give him this. So there's also access.
Hide his dentures.
The one access guy, he has a job.
Okay.
Now, mind you, I'm the only one actually with an access certification on the team.
This is true. Yeah. So as someone with an access certification, Richie, what's your opinion?
I don't know. I stopped using access 20 years ago. So
I would totally go down the Power BI route. Power BI, Microsoft's investing in it. It looks gorgeous. It looks really pretty. There are a ton of gotchas, like joins in between multiple tables. You can only use one field to join between them, so you have to create another calculated field to reinforce joins. There's a lot of gotchas, but I really like where they're going with it. But if the access guy can get it to work, I'm also kind of like, well, go buy a Condio.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're building a whole new data mart with 100 new plus reports, yeah, you definitely go with Power BI. You could put that online. You could view it mobile. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other good stuff that's kind of in there that you're going to want to utilize. And as soon as the executives see it on their phone, they'll be like, I want more of this. This is what I want. When I was at a previous company 8 years ago, when we were able to put it on an iPad, it's like all the executives just lost their mind. So it's the same thing with the phone. So now I could get access to all my reports, and it's real time or near real time, and it's all my data is right there. So I can ignore my family while I'm sitting there checking up on financial reports. Yeah, they're going to want that.
That's fair. Erik Swigum asks a really good question. He says, why is read committed snapshot isolation not enabled by default? I call foul.
I don't disagree.
Change it to default.
That's true. Yeah, make it on the new servers that you build. So for those of you who haven't played around with RCSI, read committed snapshot isolation, it allows readers to not block writers and writers to not block readers. We have a page on it. If you go to brentozar.com/go/RCSI, brentozar.com/go/RCSI, putting that up again so folks can see it on the YouTube recording. Originally written by Kendra Little, who has a phenomenal set of isolation level stuff over on her own site.
She does.
Littlekendra.com, I believe, is still the URL on that thing. She's got a new training site called SQL Server Workbooks as well, too. But she's really into isolation level stuff. She has a webcast coming up on February 8th, Snapshot Isolation on AG secondaries. So, but we're 100% with you. It's the default in Azure. It's the default in availability group secondaries, all kinds of cool stuff there.
So how can you make it the default, Brent? What way would you do that on your own servers?
Let's see. So I would right-click on a database and go into properties, and then there's isolation levels inside there that you can change to read committed snapshot. No, why would I do that? No, hold on. We have a guide post on this.
I guess that softball was more like a curve.
Right? Yeah. This is what happens when I'm looking over at the Slack, and all of a sudden I'm like, and then I know, bad idea.
It was a wiffle ball. You thought it was going straight, and then it curved.
Oh, bad idea. So read down through this, and the one thing that's a gotcha with enabling RCSI is it's an alter to the database, and you have to be the only active connection. So you have to put the database in single user mode. So just want to be something that you want to think about doing after hours.
Is that one of those things that you could add to model?
I believe so. I don't know why it wouldn't be. Yeah.
That would be my first guess, is that if you wanted the default, just throw it into model.
Yeah. All right, let me get the question list back out because I've thoroughly hosed up my screen.
But if I was starting a brand new app, I would 100% start everything off with using RCSI from the get-go. I wouldn't do anything else.
Just get that locking problem out of the way before you get started.
Yeah,
like I don't
absolutely.
Think about it
I
later.
agree, 100%.
JH says his application team is requesting all SQL Server communications to be secured. What would need to be done from a DBA end? What are the differences between TLS 1.2 and forcing encryption protocol?
Oh boy.
God, Aaron has a post on this too as well, if I remember. Aaron Bertrand, TLS, because there are a whole lot of gotchas that are terrifying. I would start here. So search for Aaron Bertrand SQL Server support for TLS 1.2. Abdel says, I have a situation where the stored proc is slower than running from the SQL in the stored proc just by itself. So he runs a stored proc from one place, then he copies out the T-SQL, pastes it in SSMS, and it runs slower. He says, I would expect the stored proc to run faster. Have you seen this before, and what should I look for in these types of situations?
Mark it.
We're 13 minutes in?
Yep.
Go ahead. I'll let you answer.
Well, you have the web browser up.
Yeah.
So what you're most likely running into is something called parameter sniffing. And there's a great post, Erland, by a fellow named Erland Summerskog. And it's all about why that might be happening to you. It's a long read, but it's well worth it because this is one of those career investment reads. This is like getting a college degree in something that I wouldn't know anything about.
All right, next up, Mahesh says, is it possible to perform minimally logged bulk loads to a table with clustered and non-clustered indexes? Nope. I turn on trace flag 610, but it is not performing in my situation.
Nope. There's a whole website written about this stuff by Microsoft, and you can't have non-clustered indexes on a table and get minimal logging. It's like it has to be a heap, or it has to be an empty non-clustered index. If the clustered index already has stuff in there, then you can't get it. So there's a whole lot of gotchas around it. Minimal logging is like one of those what if it's Tuesday on Mars performance benefits to me, where when it works on an insert, it's beautiful, but it works under such limited conditions that I see a lot of people who go into simple recovery model or go into bulk log, and it's still not working for them. And I'm like, well, bad things happened. You didn't do something right. You didn't follow the steps here.
All right. Let's see. Varab says, I have SharePoint and I want to do basic database mirroring, just plain old database mirroring. Have you seen this with your customers, and are they able to get SharePoint to work after breaking the mirrors on the DR side? Oh, man, it's been years since I've done it. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't have any practical experiences with it, but this reminds me of like when like something that I hear a lot of people say, like when they get into like weightlifting and stuff, is like, I want to be 300 pounds and shredded. And I'm like, well, it's really hard to do either one of those things. Like, it's hard to be 300 pounds and it's hard to be shredded. You're talking about like mixing up two things that are kind of hard to mess with, like individually, never mind like putting them together and like, you know, making them work at the same time. There's just not a lot of people out there doing that. I wonder why mirroring and not the AG. Like, if you're gonna roll that out these days, I wonder what the practically, like, why you would do that.
Maybe no Windows failover clustering experience, I'm guessing, or but yeah, I think we would prefer AGs over database mirroring if we could. It's included in standard edition starting in SQL Server 2016.
And you know, if mirroring, I mean, rather if AGs are out of the question, I might even prefer log shipping to AGs to mirroring in that situation, just because like I know how log shipping works, I know how solid it is, and like the interoperability of the two things is a little bit less questionable.
Let's see. James May, our favorite Top Gear presenter, pops back in with, I'm getting a very intermittent level 16. Once every couple of days, a SQL statement is failing, but the logs are getting backed up before I can jump in and query it. How would you go about catching this bug? Oh, I would be
we have a blog post about that. We have a blog post about, Kendra wrote it. It's about extended events and catching failing queries. It's called like queries failing in my database or something.
Site Ozar.com. So what happens when you have thousands? Oh, well, look at that. Way too unbelievable. So assuming you can run extend events, you're on, you know, whatever it is version that supports that or higher. Super lightweight for stuff like this. As long as you don't have queries, a lot of queries failing, it should be pretty easy. Usually we're good about having there we go.
Yeah. I'm just going to throw a couple things out there since the question's still up on the screen. You wouldn't really want to query the transaction logs to find that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not where you find queries that fail, because the transaction log is for, you know, modification queries that finished. That wouldn't be in there. You would most likely just want to look at the error log, not the transaction log. If something is cycling the error logs, then you can just look at the prior log, because it's probably not just like deleting out everything unless you have some really weird error log cycling thing going on. But if I just wanted to have all the data isolated in one place, I would definitely just go the extended events route.
Makes sense. I'm trying to think that the other reasons that I've seen like sub-16s, there's somewhere the query is too complex and doesn't produce an execution plan. The query optimizer ran out of resources, whatever. At that point, I'm like, I don't even care about capturing the query most of the time. I'm like, whoever is having a problem with this query, they can bring it to me, and you know, we'll work together on tuning it. But I don't want to proactively go looking for a problem like that.
It's gonna be one of those in clauses that like breaks like the 64 meg limit or something. You put 65,000 nested in transfers. Like, what happened? I don't know. Like, good Lord. It was a case statement with more than 128 nested levels. Like, well, perhaps it's time to revisit the logic of this query.
Mm-hmm.
It's recursive query. It just keeps calling itself.
I saw someone using recursive scalar functions last week. So it was like, a scalar function that, it gets better. It's a scalar function that parses XML, and if it doesn't find, I think, a parent node, then it passes the next node in and looks for a parent node for that recursively. So like, it's like function does stuff, parses XML. If this is null, it recalls the function with the next and I'm looking at this and I was like, so how, and then like it was with a client. So like we're like so I'm looking at this like I'm looking at this function. I'm like, let's run Blitzcache, because so we run Blitzcache with XPM, and this function was running 80,000 times a minute. Just rerun it with this XML. Nope, start over again. Nope, start over again. And we're looking at the XPM, just like. Okay, so imagine like one of your cores is dedicated to this
query.
You are paying $7,000 to run this query. It's like,
Oh my
there's
God.
no way anything else is sneaking in on that. We're just looking at this like, yeah, that's good.
That sounds like a fireable offense. Oh
Yeah,
my
it was,
goodness.
it was funny to look at.
I'm going to bet I just saw that it's the SQL query stress is throwing a world of errors, so I probably restored without getting my, I didn't get my database restored. But if you're going to run SP Bullets cache at sort order equals XPM, this is short for executions per minute. So then it's a great way to catch the queries that run the most often on your server. It's based on, if you scroll across, there's a created at and last execution date. So maybe you have a problem with things flushing out of the plan cache. Maybe it's something that only runs during peak loads in the middle of the night. So it may run for only short bursts, but odds are it's going to be something like a scalar function that gets called row by row. Just hopefully not nested. What on earth is that? So that is
again,
XPM.
that goes back to my typical, what are we doing with XML in the database in the first place?
I mean, it's a great place to
Query plans.
store XML. Store XML, but not to process it.
No, it's not even a great place to store XML. No. Put that in NoSQL or put it in JSON in NoSQL. Just
Trying so hard to be generous.
put it in Postgres. Oh no, wait. Oh, am I not supposed to say that in this podcast?
Oh man.
Rick says encrypted XML with embedded JSON. Rick, it sounds like you're perfectly qualified to be a Microsoft certified database administrator. Here you go.
That's good to me.
JH says, when I'm planning on reindexing large tables, is there any way to estimate time to complete? We're trying to avoid locking and blocking users or other processes.
But what if you're trying to do popping and locking?
I'm not even going to try by doing popping and locking on screen.
Dead man walking.
That was a breakdance reference for anybody who wasn't alive during the 80s. Just going to put that out there.
So boy, the thing that's really awesome in there is the new ability to rebuild indexes at low priority starting in SQL Server 2014. I'm not sure if this must be, I guess it is an enterprise edition only feature since that's the online option.
2017 has the resumable online index rebuilds. I don't think we blogged about that though.
No, I don't think so either.
Generally, we don't spend too much time blogging about ways that people should be rebuilding their indexes. That's the thing.
That's
Try
true.
not to give too much advice on it.
That is true. But so this is the way to do it at low priority and you don't block anybody else. Daryl asks, can Richie please demo a pop and lock?
Yeah, go for it, Richie.
Nope.
Just do it on your couch so you don't.
Nope.
Just,
Like somewhere around 1984, there was a movie called Breaking.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to pull that one out. You know, has some really great characters like Special K and Ozone, Turbo. Jean-Claude Van Damme is one of the dancers. I mean, it will give you a real nice flavor for the 80s and what you missed.
Turbo was bad as hell, man.
Turbo was the man.
Yeah. What was other good other movies? It was Breakin', Beat Street.
Beat Street.
What
Breakin'
was the
2,
other-
Electric Boogaloo.
Boogaloo, yeah. Those are all fine movies that featured breakdancing heavily.
Let's see. Next, oh goodness, people are now putting in breakdancing songs. All right, so the last one that we'll take, JH says, oh no, that was the one that we answered. No, all right, then in that case we're done because I don't want to have no, we'll do Hanan's. Hanan says, I changed the service account running SQL Server via the configuration manager. After that change, the instance is running and everything seems okay. But when I check the local policies GUI, the new account has not been granted any of the required rights like login as a service, bypass traverse checking, etc. So that's something I should need to set up manually. That's supposed to be taken care of by configuration manager, which leads me to think that either it was you checked on the wrong server, like you ran config manager on the wrong server. Maybe you weren't logged into somebody with admin rights. I mean, there could be a long list of things that was done. What I would try is go try it again. Go try to change the logon account again. It'll have to wait until restart before the stuff takes effect, but then at least you can see if the permissions are getting granted.
I was just breakdancing. I don't know if you all missed it.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh.
You didn't see? Because I did some really awesome stuff. I actually just have card desk for other reasons.
No,
That
you
was
had
great,
for once you had the webcam above the desk turned on instead of the one below the desk. I think we've asked for that one to be permanently deactivated. Tired of seeing.
Can't always
Especially
get what
since
you
he's
want.
not wearing any pants. Yeah.
I actually still have my morning sweatpants on.
You have separate sweatpants for the afternoon?
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't? You don't have afternoon? What am I, a farmer? Of course I have separate sweatpants at time of day. My
So
no sweatpants.
Wait, I'm like, sweatpants, what are those? I no idea.
What do you go to the gym in, Richie?
Sleepy
Jim?
Jones.
Jim lives down the street, bro.
I should put in a plug for Sleepy Jones. Sleepy Jones has phenomenal pajamas. This is pretty much what I've been living in these days when I don't have to go get on a webcast. So can't say enough good things about Sleepy Joe pajamas. This webcast is brought to you by Sleepy Jones pajamas.
What the hell just happened?
Thanks, everybody, and we will see y'all next week at office hours. Adios.
Adios.